With that, I'm going to call upon Prof, as he's fondly known within Nkongi. I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing him. He's one of my favorite people for the simple reason that he's done research or thesis that puts people on the balance sheet. I never thought that CAs were capable of such. So, Prof, you've really restored my faith in the CA profession, that you understand the importance of human capital. He's going to talk to us about what lessons audit committees can learn from the corporate failures that we've experienced in the past few years. And I think one of the ones that was spoken about at length this morning was Enron. So Prof, I'm going to hand over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm between you and going home, and I'm not going to take any more abuse or flack. Being an IFRS specialist, I'll let you go quite early. What I'm going to do today is take you through lessons from corporate failures, but first I'd like you to look quite carefully at some of the definitions I've got here. Feudalism. Feudalism is you have two cows, your lord, not the lord there, but the king in those days took some of the milk. Then you had fascism, is you have two cows, the government takes both, hires you to take care of them, and sells you the milk. Then you've got communism. You have two cows, you must take care of them, but the government takes all the milk. You then have capitalism, is you have two cows, you sell one and buy a bull. Your herd multiplies and the economy grows. You sell them and retire on the income. Now, we have Enron capitalism. Listen to this very, very carefully. Is you have two cows. You sell three of them to your publicly listed company using letters of credit opened by your brother-in-law at the bank. Then execute a debt equity swap with an associated general offer so that you get all 4 cows back with a tax exemption for 5 cows. The milk rights of the 6 cows are transferred through an intermediary to a Cayman Island company, secretly owned by the majority shareholder, who sells the rights to all 7 cows back to your listed company. The Enron annual report says the company owns 8 cows with an option on 1 more. Now, that tells the story of growth. Before I carry on, I just want to, Ansi this morning was talking about a duck. What's the definition of a duck? Well, the problem at Enron was that they might know what was in the IFRS and accounting standards, but they didn't know the definition of a duck. Because we all know what the definition of a duck is. It looks like a duck. That's what she mentioned. But what wasn't mentioned? It's got to act like a duck before it can be a duck. So in other words, the job of the audit committee is not to see that it looks like a duck. The job of the audit committee is to see that it acts like a duck. There's the key. Not to sit and worry about whether auditing or accounting standards have been complied with. It's about looking, as was mentioned this morning, it's the story behind the numbers. It's what they mean. Does it act like a duck? And therefore, it will be a duck only if it acts like a duck. The high-profile accounting scandals cost the world hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. We all know that. And the fact that these deficiencies went unchecked is amazing, that the audit committees missed this. And what I'm going to show you today is the lessons learned. What did these audit committees miss, and why did they miss them? I'm going to take you through Enron. I'm going to take you through Centro, which Auntie did a bit with you this morning. I'm going to look at Parmalat, WorldCom, and Royal Ahold from the Netherlands. Royal Ahold was a grocery company, and you'll see what the director said about that they were grocers, not bankers or auditors or accountants. I will look at the lessons drawn from these scandals in respect of only audit committees, because we need to see what audit committees have done to contribute to the problem. The 5 case studies, let's have a look at Enron. The most deplorable and devastating of all of them was Enron. Once the 7th largest company in the United States, Members of senior management were convicted or admitted to committing criminal offenses. However, the audit committee was astonishingly oblivious to the fraud going on. Quite amazing. Obvious red flags that Enron's audit committee consistently overlooked. So what did they overlook? What were they missing? Well, management's over-optimistic news releases with respect to earnings. Why did management, or why did the audit committee not ask the right questions? Remember, it's all about these probing questions. Did this not ring a bell? Were these not red flags? Management consistently touted incredible earnings growth, yet the audit committee never saw the need to address this. Aggressive accounting practices. Well, Enron was the first company really to use this mark-to-market. If they were the first company to address mark-to-market, which we know today as sort of fair value accounting, why did they not ask about it? Why was it not questioned? What is the meaning of this mark-to-market? Rapid growth. Enron's revenues grew by 150% in just 1 year, which should have raised doubts in the minds of audit committee members, but nothing was said. Earnings growth was even more incredible and was the direct result of transactions with special purpose entities. Also the beginning of special purpose entities and group financial statements. No one questioned them. Remember, special purpose entities in those days didn't have to be consolidated. But really, it acted like a duck. They should have been consolidated. Blatant conflicts of interest. The board was aware and even signed off on several exceptions to employee codes of conduct. Why did the audit committee not address these issues of codes of conduct? Poor internal controls that were poorly overseen. According to the US Senate committee, evidence indicates that the controls were poorly designed and implemented. The audit committee, which was also in charge of ethics enforcement, never followed up with management to make sure internal controls governing the CFO's participation in special purpose entities. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, The Smartest Men in the Room. It was the CFO who actually bought all these special purpose entities and put them in his own name with the knowledge of the audit committee. I mean, the lessons are quite straightforward, aren't they? Tolerance of the lack of independence of the external and internal auditors. Well, here we are. Arthur Andersen provided both internal and external auditing services to Enron at the same time. It is something that should not happen. The audit committee was aware of and approved this practice. Well, the rest is history. The reason there were such problems with the auditors is because the auditors did internal and external, which is defeating the whole purpose of the 3 lines of defense, which are internal, external, and management. So that's really, guys, the lessons from Enron are the audit committee's oversight, the audit committee's understanding of an in-depth understanding of the knowledge of the laws, regulations, and accounting. We'll come to that financial literacy later on.